All right, looks like we are live. Welcome back to Jam Crypto. So I'm here doing another live stream in Hong Kong. The past 2 days, it has been so packed for me because if you didn't know already, is Bitcoin Asia and Hong Kong is the biggest Bitcoin conference in Asia. So I was like walking around, looking at different booths and talking to like mingling, socializing so much. And the day before that, it was actually the launch party of Roxom. So Roxom is having a new studio. They already have a studio in San Francisco, in London. Now they're setting up a new studio, more like a TV program. So think Bloomberg, but Bloomberg is specialized in finance. So Roxom TV like specialize in Bitcoin. So very honored to be the first host of the Hong Kong studio. I had so much fun because the team rented out a really amazing venue. So it's in Ozone, one of the best venue in whole Hong Kong. So I think it's like the highest building in Hong Kong and possibly in Asia. Asia, I'm not sure, but definitely in Hong Kong. Anyways, I did like 30 interviews on the launch party. So I did a lot of talking, talked to so many amazing folks. I learned so much from all the conversations from our guests. So the team is doing the editing. So hopefully next week I could have some clips and some clips of the interview to show you guys. We're going to touch upon the Bitcoin Asia, going to tell you what's the vibe like, some interesting stuff that happening in Hong Kong. So without further ado, because tonight we still have so many side events that I have to attend to. Because I know I haven't done a live stream in 2 days because the past 2 days has been so packed for me, but I still want to give you guys the update. So after the live stream, I'm gonna hop out back to the conference and side events tonight. So without further ado, let's look at the chart. So here we are on the Bitcoin daily chart. So Bitcoin, as you can see, is dipping a little bit. We are battling to hold that 109K as support. The reason why I'm eyeing this 109K so importantly, so look at this, look at like back in July or even late June. So this 109K is acting as a major resistance on the daily time frame. So here, and also let me draw a little bit. So here, early July, late June. Here we touch again as a resistance. So obviously back in May, that's what we did as well. So this is really important. And also if you zoom out and if you go all the way back to July, this is actually the previous all-time high we had just months ago, like a little bit over half a year ago. So this is why 109K is a critical level I'm watching. If Bitcoin obviously is showing a little bit of weakness, which is extremely normal because like, come on guys, like look, this pump all the way to 124K, a new all-time high. So having a correction, especially now that is late August, we're entering September, I'm not too concerned. I'm not worried at all. And however, if Bitcoin lose 109K, actually maybe close below 109K, that's a sign of a little bit of more bearish momentum, I'll say. So we are on the daily time frame. Let's also do weekly time frame. So on the weekly, kind of like gives you a picture of the long term, like a bigger picture, and zoom out, look at the things from a different perspective. All right, so we are on the weekly right now, saying like 109K is a critical level I'm watching. I do want to pull out the bull market support band. So as you can see, the bottom line, so the red line is taking over, which is not a good sign. That means like very likely Bitcoin going to go back into the bull market support band. So right here. That's what it happens back in March as well. So we even dipped below the bull market support band. We inside this cloud, so this within this band, but however, we closed below the bull market support band for a few weeks actually. So this is one scenario of looking at things. Another thing that I'm eyeing very closely is actually the 50-week moving average. So we know that Bitcoin is having correction. The reason why we think that, okay, Bitcoin is likely to have a correction is that historically speaking, if you go to the monthly return of the entire Bitcoin history, all right, August, like there's still 2 days till September, but looks like we're gonna end up with a negative number in August this year. So minus 2%. I would take minus 2%. That's nothing for Bitcoin. Like minus 2% is yeah, I'm not concerned at all. All right, so minus 2%. People were saying, okay, what's gonna happen in September? People were speculating. All right, so by the way, like this minus return in August, I kind of expected even beginning of the August when we were still in July when I was doing this live stream. The reason why I'm not surprised to see a negative number as I predicted is that, okay, if you go back to the pattern, I like to study pattern. So I'll tell you what I see. 8 months out of 11 months in August, we end up with the dip number, like with a decline, negative number. So I expected a dip in August. And for September hasn't been historically a strong month for Bitcoin neither. And not only that, it combined with the halving cycle, actually, because the pattern that I saw from this halving cycle is that like post 1 year post halving. So we had the halving at in 2016. All right, so 2016 post halving year, that means 2017. So right here, look at this, like we end up with a dip in September. That's post halving year. And then 4 years later, which is another post halving year. So 2021, we end up with a dip again. 2025, like I won't be surprised to see a dip again. However, if we have a dip in August, the how much we dip, like how much we dump, might be less severe, like a less of correction. I'm just speculating here and looking at the pattern, telling you what I see. So the question here, so let's hop back into the weekly chart of Bitcoin. So scenario number 1 is that we either go to the bull market support band, which is right here, or we either go back all the way down to the 50-week moving average. That's my prediction for September, especially if we end up losing the critical level of 109K that I drew in the beginning of the show. So that's how I expected for Bitcoin. Let's also hop onto Ethereum. So let's look at the ETH versus BTC chart. So ETH, as always, Bitcoin like to drag the entire market down because Bitcoin is the leader. So that's kind of expected, right? So Bitcoin is dipping. Most often than not, Ethereum's gonna dip as well because they have the really high correlation, like a 0.8 correlation. So if Bitcoin dip, Ethereum gonna dip harder. That is just how most altcoins work. And technically, Ethereum is an altcoin. Yeah, so this level, this major support at 0.04, I drew like weeks ago because it was acting as a little bit of resistance. now that it dipped below, like it's like dipped below the support, so it's acting as a resistance again. But like since Bitcoin, like if I speculate that Bitcoin is gonna have a correction in September, Ethereum, if there weren't major news, I don't know, like some major companies, Tesla buying Ethereum, how about that? Like I'm just talking shit. Like you get what I mean. Like if there wasn't major news to help push up the price of Ethereum, then I won't be surprised that we're gonna dip alongside with Bitcoin, because that's just how crypto works. All right, so that's for TA. I do want to do it like a little bit faster today, because as I mentioned in the beginning of the show, I still have to hop around and go out because it's still Bitcoin Asia. So now let's look at some Bitcoin Asia news, because I'm in Hong Kong and I attended the event yesterday and met a lot of like Bitcoin Maxi and amazing people. They're very knowledgeable people, so I'm really liking the vibe here. So there are prominent figures. Oh, sorry. So for example, like Mark Moss, he was at Roxom TV, but he was in a rush, so I didn't manage to get a hold of him to do a quick on the fly video. But as I mentioned, I did like 30 interviews during the Roxom launch party. So the point is, like, a lot of like prominent figures are flying all the way to Hong Kong, like from different countries, from the US. So yeah, it looks really vibrant, and I like the vibe. I like the vibe on during this time in Bitcoin Asia. This video I checked out on X. I wasn't there, but it looks so cute. So this is a drone show, and it displayed the logo of Bitcoin. So let me play. Isn't that cute? Yeah, I wasn't there because I had other plans, and there's so many events. I didn't go to the Victoria Harbour, but this is so cute. Like, this is awesome. Wish I was there. The vibe looks great. So, yeah, just to give you guys a little bit of update about Hong Kong. Why? Maybe call me biased because I'm from Hong Kong. I'm Hong Kongese and I love my city. But I do think Hong Kong matters a lot, because since 2023, Hong Kong has really like heavily positioned itself as the Asia's crypto hub. There are some confusion, especially when I talk to foreigners. Like they will ask me, okay, what's the gist with Hong Kong? Because I thought Hong Kong is under China, but China, as we know, banned Bitcoin and banned crypto, so it's illegal to do like mining activities in China. But like Hong Kong, so we have like one country, two systems. So Hong Kong is like a test net for China, and Hong Kong is pushing this crypto Asia hub, this narrative, really strong. So Hong Kong actually did a 180 back in 2021. Hong Kong government was like a little bit hostile to crypto, not like really hostile, but it's really gray area. But right now in 2025, Hong Kong now has like licensed exchanges. We have Hong Kong ETF. So we actually front run the US with BTC ETF and ETH ETF, so ETH Spot ETF. So we had it first. So I'm really honored to tell that to the public. And we have like Bitcoin issuers, major events like the Bitcoin Asia is happening in Hong Kong right now, right in the second I'm talking. So the annual growth in digital asset, like in the whole Asia, is rapid, like growing rapidly. So I'm seeing that Hong Kong has a lot of potential. There's still like some balance to maybe like balance the pro crypto ambition with some risk management, especially after FTX, and also we have the local crypto exchange crash down. So I do see this as a net positive because it flushed out the bad actor. But it's good to see that Hong Kong is trying to like create this friendly regulation so everyone knows where the guideline is, know what can be done and what couldn't be done. So I can dive a little bit deeper about the regulations in Hong Kong. So first we have the VASP license. This is licensed by the SFC, which is equivalent to the SEC in America. So there are more than 20 different exchanges got this license. Hashkey, OSL, OKX Hong Kong, not OKX Global, OKX Hong Kong. So they all got this license. Obviously, they have to comply with the AML, KYC. They have penalties if they break some sort of rules. And technically speaking, retail investors only allowed to buy spot BTC, ETH, and a little bit of altcoins. Not a lot if you do that on the Hong Kong licensed exchanges. We also have the Stablecoins Act, which we kind of front run the US as well. So it came on effect on 1st of August. So a lot of people don't know, and especially Singaporean when they come to Hong Kong, they find it really mesmerizing that the fact that you can just like walk on the street of Hong Kong, you see OTC, you walk in with your cash, and you can purchase USDT or USDC or BTC. Like you can never do such thing in Singapore, but like in Hong Kong, you can do that. Hong Kong government knows that like there is of course a risk of money laundering. So what Hong Kong government is doing is that, okay, we regulate this. We don't regulate the everyday person who walks into the OTC to purchase the digital assets, but Hong Kong government is regulating the issuers, which means the OTC. So right now they need to have a license, like they must ensure that they hold 100% bank reserves. They need to have like really straight AML, KYC, even for P2P transfer. So violation for that, like there's a penalty up to 1 million Hong Kong dollars fine, or even like 2 years in jail. So quite similar to the US Genius Act, but I would say the Hong Kong one is a little bit more comprehensive. And also, that is like the two major licenses that we need in Hong Kong at the moment. And then, I was just like so surprised. I thought, like, I didn't know I've been taking it for granted, like walking into OTC and purchase some digital asset with cash. But when foreigners come to Hong Kong, and they were like, they actually tested out because they thought it was a joke. Like there's no way you can do such thing. But I was like, no, like a lot of people do that. So that's a convenience that Hong Kong is offering. All right, so why is this? I mentioned a little bit just like a few minutes earlier. So Hong Kong is acting basically a bridge that connects the global capital, global liquidity, and China's demand, basically, because there's still a ban from China. So like I would say Asia is a big market that we couldn't simply ignore, because there's a chart that I look at. So 10 countries in the whole world that are mostly like crypto adopted countries, basically. There are, I think 8 of them are Asian countries. There are different reasons why these countries would adopt crypto, or more specifically stablecoin, is of course remittance. Sending crypto around or Bitcoin around is a lot easier than the SWIFT system. I don't know why there's still SWIFT systems in 2025. So that is pretty ridiculous. All right, so yeah, so that's the regulation side of Hong Kong. As I mentioned, there's so many prominent figures in Bitcoin Asia this year. Last year, when I was in Bitcoin Asia in Hong Kong, it was mostly about layer 2, like so many Bitcoin layer 2 projects. I'm a little bit skeptical with layer 2 because I think the beauty of Bitcoin is the simplicity. It's digital gold, right? Like having all these like JPEG on Bitcoin network. I don't know, like I'm not really into that. So last year I saw a lot of layer 2, but this year they're all gone. Like where are they now? Yeah, I mean there's so many rug pulls and scams in crypto. It's basically everywhere. Yeah, this year I saw like mining hardwares. Oh, some merch. They look cool. Like some of them look really interesting. I like the look of it. They have like a Bitcoin trainers, some like Bitcoin like old-fashioned CD that I really like it. Yeah, some interesting merch. So the event is between 28th till 29th, which is today. There's so many attendees, like more than 10,000 attendees. So many speakers. So CC, Adam Back, and even Eric Trump. Like Eric Trump is speaking today. So I expect that the exhibition center in Hong Kong is going to be so packed today. Well, if you want to watch Eric Trump's speech, you have to hold that whale pass of the Bitcoin Asia. So the whale pass costs like close to $5,000. Yeah, I know some people would still get that, but like personally, I'm much rather to do a live stream with you guys because I do want to give you guys update. All right, so that's for Bitcoin Asia. Let me know in the chat if you guys go to Bitcoin Asia. DXY in the 12 months chart looks like forming the right shoulder. Yeah, I haven't looked at DXY yet. All right, so that's for Bitcoin Asia. Let's hop on to some like other news. This is about the US. So what's happening here? The US Department of Commerce, BEA, they announced that they're going to publish GDP data on blockchain. All right, this is part of the Trump's pro-crypto friendly policies, obviously like alongside with the Bitcoin Reserve and stablecoins like the Genius Act. So the GDP like data is still being released traditionally, but now also being verified on-chain. So the goal is to achieve that tamper-proof, transparent data distribution. There are like a few different blockchains that they're going to do this on. So, so the core 9 chains, they are Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, Tron, Stellar, Avalanche, Arbitrum, Polygon, Optimism. So those are the core 9 chains. There's still like different like smaller chains. And going to extend it via oracles. So Chainlink and Pyth or Pyth? Call it Pyth. Okay, Pyth. All right, so Chainlink and Pyth. So also going to connect to Base, Linear, Mantle, Sonic, Seke Sync. So there are more than 15 networks connected to post this government data of the GDP. Exchanges like Coinbase, Kraken, Gemini provided gas fees for transactions. So the goal is to be more accessible, so everyone can look at the GDP number of the US. I'm not sure if anyone wants to do that, but if you want to do it, be my guest. All right, so how does that work? I'll explain to you in more beginner-friendly kind of way. So, don't get me wrong, the number of the GDP is still being calculated by the BEA, so Bureau of Economic Analysis of the US. So it's still being calculated the usual way, done on surveys, tax data, trade numbers, etc. So let's say the Q2 2025 GDP is 3.3% growth. Let's call it 3%. All right. So what it does is that it creates a digital fingerprint. So instead of uploading the whole GDP report, like hundreds of pages on chain, they create a hash. So a hash is a very unique barcode. Think of it like a fingerprint for the file. If even one word changes, the fingerprint changes completely. So it proves it proves that the file couldn't be altered. So think of this fingerprint, so aka the hash, and the key GDP number, like 3%, get posted on blockchains. On Bitcoin, for example, is embedded in a transaction memo. And on Ethereum, is stored as a simple smart contract. And oracles come in like Chainlink and Pyth, like a data bridges. So they take the GDP number from the BA, sign it, broadcast to blockchains. This make it possible for apps, DeFi protocols, or dashboards to automatically pull the latest GDP data. So imagine a DeFi loan contract that adjusts interest rate automatically if GDP growth slows. So with this, it's possible right now. So this is why everyone is so bullish. I mean, there are some, if you think about it, that's going to make our lives easier, because I do believe that the world is moving on chain and everything is getting digitized, and the public can verify whether the number is valid because it's on the blockchain. It's increasing the transparency. However, I do like to be more level-headed. There are advantages. So it creates an immutable audit trail. It's much easier for analysts to check if revision deviate without explanation, because that's the US governments do, or even any governments in the world, not just US. And and it's easier to do AI analysis, similar to Triflation for CPI actually. But there's still limitations, so garbage in, garbage out. Remember, the BEA is still controlling the GDP figure, so the calculation is still being done by the GBA. So blockchain may lock the number, but it doesn't stop the bias there, or those rosy estimates, because we all know what happened in the job market, which is quite recent. So overall, it's still net positive. The government would benefit from, it's transparent, so it's gaining trust from the public. It's definitely innovative. Not much governments would opt to do this, offering the transparency for everyone. So it definitely unlocks some new use cases, like DeFi particularly, I would say. It also positioned the US as the leader when it comes to crypto adoption. How innovative the US is. All right, but I do take the whole thing with a pinch of salt, because the GDP number still can be heavily manipulated at the end of the day, and some call it a PR risk, like a PR play. Yeah, but since that they're doing it with GDP, I won't be surprised if they start doing it with inflation, with jobs, or even the Fed rates. So yeah, overall it's good. Pyth also saw, because of this news, like saw 50%. Chainlink not so much, just a little bit. I think like single digit pump. The reason why Chainlink didn't enjoy such a rally compared to Pyth, obviously is because like Pyth is a much smaller coin with a much smaller market, so it's easier to get like the ups and downs, the volatility, basically. All right, so let's move on to the last piece of news. This is about Solana. So Solana, any of you hold Solana? Do let me know in the chat. So why am I talking about Solana? Because right now we are kind of seeing the shift from this ETH treasury companies and slowly seeing the rise of Sol treasury companies. Obviously, it's still ETH season. I wouldn't argue that. But Solana is trying to do stuff to catch up, basically. So if you didn't already know, if you have been living under the rocks, like these Solana treasury companies, they are like publicly traded or institutional companies. For Sol, like they buy Sol and hold it on the balance sheet as a treasury asset. This is completely inspired by the MicroStrategy Bitcoin playbook. So here's the details. So Sol is up 15% over the last week, while Bitcoin is flat. ETH is up just 6%, driven by speculation and the news of multiple digital asset treasury emerging, led by notable investors such as Multicoin, Pantera, and Galaxy Digital. All right, so while social media sentiment on Solana may have cooled off slightly alongside the meme coin craze, the Solana ecosystem is experiencing rapid growth in DeFi adoption, with the layer 1's TVL all-time high, despite the chain's largest asset Sol being down more than 20% from its previous high. So that's good stuff for Solana. I hold a lot of Solana. Actually, is my I hold more Solana than Ethereum. Both of them, like ETH is my third bag, but I do hold more Solana actually. Okay, Anita is saying that you're only holding meme coin. Okay, all right, good for you. For me, not at the moment. I like my Sol. All right, so why are these people choosing Solana instead of like ETH or BTC? So Solana is offering a lot more staking rewards compared to ETH, so about 7 to 8% APY. ETH is about 3 to 4%. Obviously, Solana has a much lower fees compared to both Bitcoin and Ethereum, and much faster transactions. That's why like doing DeFi on Solana makes a lot more sense compared to Ethereum. I would try to avoid Ethereum as much as I could. Like if there are coins that I really want to, farm, to trade a little, then I'll use Ethereum. But most often than not, I'll try to avoid. Like I just use Solana. So people are speculating that holding Sol is a hedge against inflation and a potential stock price boost. So right now there are actually like more than 13, so more than 13 entities hold Sol as a treasury asset. The total value is about $1.7 billion in Sol, backed by, as I mentioned, all these like big names, Pantera, Galaxy Digital, Multicoin, Jump Crypto. And we're seeing this momentum really picking up. The reason why I say this is, okay, just look at the timeline in August alone. Like early August, we have So strategies, like they hold 400,000 SOL, they stake it and yield and reinvest to buy more SOL. So that's the strategy. And then we have like DeFi development, Apache treasury, Sharps technology, obviously Pantera. Pantera is now trying to raise $1.25 billion to create Solana treasury firm. Yeah, we're seeing a lot more using this mechanism. So buy SOL, stake it, and yield, use rewards to buy even more SOL, like creating this like compounding effect. Obviously, there's a risk, like price volatility is very probable for Solana to have a 40% drop. Like for Solana to dip 40% is actually nothing, but it's a big hit for like all these treasury companies on the balance sheet. Yeah, and then since a lot of these treasury companies are using like different methods like convertible bonds to finance buy, so they have to manage the debt to asset ratio very carefully. Otherwise, the investors, bondholders more specifically, would have the right to ask for earlier repayment. So that might create some cash flow problem. Good thing for Solana is that it's not deemed as security. So there's like less SEC friction. But like long-term wise, I like where Solana is going, especially if Solana is aiming for the Ethereum throne. Solana has like a higher staking yield. ETH, there's still like a lot of advantages, like a TradFi coin, a very like a large DeFi ecosystem. ETFs is already live. However, the risk and reward that I'm seeing right now is massive, because technically speaking, we still don't have a spot SOL ETF being approved at the moment. There are filings, like no more than 9 institutions filed for the Solana ETF, spot ETF. Fennec, 21 shares, Bitwise, Grayscale, etc. But the SEC delays the decision so the next deadline is October 2025, so this year, 2 months later. Well, 2 months later, okay, 1.5 months later. All right, so although we have a deadline in just like 1.5 months, the odds of approval actually like increased. Everyone is eyeing for 2026 instead of just like this year. Like if approved, and if we could mirror what Ethereum is doing, like $10 billion in the ETF inflows, that is extremely bullish for Solana. Yeah, so there's this like positive feedback loop. Obviously the treasury firm stocks gonna surge, and they're gonna buy more SOL. So like 200, well, we almost 200, so like $300 for SOL this year, I would say it's still possible. September is as I mentioned in the beginning of the show, like September has historically been a weak month for Bitcoin, and Bitcoin like to drag everyone down. So Solana, I wouldn't expect there will be like too much upside for Solana this month, but like everyone's talking about October, so we'll see about that. All right, so let's see if there are any interesting comments. Sudden dump in the market, yes. You bought ETH last cycle. Sadly, it was my first cycle. I gained and lost 200K. Oh shit! By long holding it and sell to like. Well, we all have to learn from our mistakes. All right, so I I think I'm going to end this stream early because, as I mentioned, I still have to go to the events. There are so many side events tonight. So yeah, if you guys are in Hong Kong, do come say hi. If not, I'll see you guys in the next stream. So thank you guys.